Ann Garrison, do you think that President Obama should recognize the election of Paul Kagame again?
No, I do not, and I join a coalition of Africa advocates in that. Friends of the Congo, the Africa Faith and Justice Network, Foreign Policy in Focus, long list of Africa advocacy groups do not think that President Obama should recognize President Kagame's election.
What would be the significance of this, and why is...
I've not been able to think through what the... Go ahead.
Why has the U.S. government supported Paul Kagame so much?
Well, for one, he speaks English. Rwanda was a Francophone territory before the Rwanda genocide. Paul Kagame is an English-speaking Ugandan Tutsi. Rather, he was a refugee from age 3 in Uganda. He led an invasion, the beginning of the Rwandan Civil War in 1990. It concluded in 1994 when he seized power in Kigali. And the widely accepted narrative is that he brought the Rwanda genocide to an end. One of the things that happened after the Rwanda genocide was the dominance of the U.S. and the U.K., or what's sometimes called the Anglophone alliance. Francophone influence receded. So that's one reason. He was trained at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, which is where generals go to learn to plan invasions, and he invaded Rwanda from Uganda in 1990. Now, I'm not sure that I could identify all the other imperatives of the Pentagon and whoever else were active in this situation at that time, but the whole region is hugely strategically important. The most significant resource in the region is probably the cobalt in the Katanga copper belt in eastern Congo and southeastern Congo and northern Zambia. It's been U.S. policy since 1980 to be prepared to go to war, actually, for the cobalt reserves in the Katanga copper belt, because jet fighter bomber technology changed in about 1980 such that these cobalt reserves were essential to its manufacture. The United States has no cobalt reserves worth mining. It's not commercially worth mining, but we are the world's largest consumer of cobalt.
Ann Garrison, looking at today's New York Times, they write, Rwandans have a lot to shout about. New roads and health clinics, millions of dollars of foreign investment, broadband internet, even national health insurance, a small miracle in this poor, tiny, overcrowded country where the top natural resource may be the few hundred gorillas left in its misty mountains. Your response?
It's very hard for me to understand why this story keeps being reported. Now, I'm relying on the studies of various academics, the Rusesabagina Foundation, and an academic from the Netherlands who recently did an exhaustive study. And they have all said that the majority of Rwandans are suffering extreme poverty, low life expectancy, high infant mortality, visible malnourishment, 60% living below the poverty level, some 37% at something like $1 a day. And yet we hear this story all the time about the development miracle. As I understand it, this is all about the city of Kigali, and this is the Singapore development model where the majority, the rural population, is sacrificed for a tiny urban elite. And the inequality index in Rwanda has increased since the Rwanda genocide. This has been reported by a number of people. And you can find these statistics in the Wikipedia and on, the statistics that the UN put out. But we keep hearing all the time about the development miracle. Well, it's the Singapore model of development.
Ann Garrison, I want to thank you for being with us. Of course, we will continue to follow the Rwandan elections. This is Election Day in Rwanda. Ann Garrison, independent journalist who writes about Rwanda, the Congo, and the politics of resource extraction. This is Democracy Now! When we come back, well, it's the 65th anniversary of the bombing of Nagasaki, the dawn of the nuclear age. Stay with us.